The third season of Squid Game impressed with new games and spectacular sets. Now, we're getting exclusive behind-the-scenes insights. What was real and what was CGI? Netflix has released brand new material, and that's exactly what we're taking a look at today. You might recognize some scenes already, but this time there are even more exciting details. Let's go. First, we take a look at footage from the set, specifically those shared by the company responsible for the visual effects in the series. The first image shows the spoiler-heavy scene from the end of Season 2. The players emerge, but instead of approaching the well-known girl, they simply stand in front of a studio lot. Blue walls, a completely different ceiling, and instead of the girl's body and head, you only see a prop. Interestingly, there were no real dolls present during filming, just their bases, either due to time constraints or because it was easier to add the body digitally. Only the legs were physically built, so the actors could interact with them, and they would be visible in full size. The next exciting scene shows Dae-ho running away from Gi-hoon, opening a door, and nearly falling into the void. This was part of the hide-and-seek game. The height looked impressive in the final cut, but in reality, there was a blue screen on the floor, and Dae-ho was just looking down. Gi-hoon stood on the second floor. The scene was later edited digitally to add more depth. The following shots might surprise you. They show that the boat scene, with the captains and Jun-ho on board, wasn't filmed at sea, but on a stationary boat surrounded by blue walls. Instead of water, a sand floor. The same method was used for the scene with Gyeong-seok, the girl's father. In post-production, the footage was enhanced to create the illusion of real depth and realism. But where was real water actually used? In Jun-ho's diving scene. He wore real diving gear and really filmed underwater, but probably not in the ocean, more likely in a studio pool. Green screens were placed on the sides. The boat approaching him later was also added digitally. Another interesting scene shows No Yule climbing toward a ventilation duct. The rock wall was realistically built to scale and was actually quite high, even if it was only a fragment. The set was impressive and looked very real. It was filmed outdoors, likely to achieve maximum authenticity. Now for an intriguing question. Was that a real baby in the scene? Of course not. A doll was used for the birth scene, complete with an umbilical cord or something similar. In another shot, the grandmother was given a different baby model, one that was slightly curled up. The body still looked very realistic. By the way, for anyone worried about the actor who played the mercenary leader, there was no real dog scene. He simply acted as if he were being bitten. The dog was digitally added later. Here we see what the set looked like without any special effects. No doll heads, no walls, no jump rope. Everything was added via computer. Even the height was fictional. When a player got hit and thrown by the jump rope, that was a dummy. The actor only played the moment of impact. Some scenes were filmed using a special setup, where players could fall in style. They were harnessed and lowered down by cables. The height wasn't huge, but it was sufficient. It's also interesting how the VIPs weren't looking at the actual game, but rather at a blue screen. For the final game, a lifting platform was installed. The platform was filmed from above, and the actors simulated the elevator effect, even though nothing moved. The walls were added digitally afterward. The third game also looked very different. Only the tips of the giant figures were real. The height was minimal. For Gi-hoon's leap of faith, only part of the bridge was real. The rest was covered with blue cloths to be removed in post-production. A crash mat was placed for the actor to land safely. Now come never-before-seen shots from the set. One scene shows Gi-hoon lying in a coffin. During rehearsals, he wasn't in it yet. The actors simply acted surprised. Later, he got inside. The scene where he grabs a gun was also rehearsed thoroughly. The organ harvesting scene is briefly shown. It might look odd from the outside, but in the film, the camera, music, and effects create a unique atmosphere. The next images show the everyday life of the actors. They drink water, talk, rehearse scenes. For the scene with the giant gumball machine with red and blue balls, an entire hall was built. without blue screens. The largest set, however, was created for the hide-and-seek game. An entire neighborhood was constructed to give the actors an intense, immersive experience. The camera followed the lead actor closely, with the crew right behind. Space was tight, and the corridors narrow. For the game's entry scene, special camera rigs were even installed so the cameras could move smoothly. You also see how Dae-ho's fear of heights was filmed from below. Often actors had to run straight toward the camera, not an easy task in such narrow spaces. For the jump rope game, there were actual puppets on set, but only miniature versions to help guide post-production. Even though it looks like players are simply jumping on screen, every frame hides an entire team: camera operators, sound technicians, and someone with a long boom mic. Sometimes the director himself got involved, showing actors exactly how to move. For example, during the fight scene between Gi-hoon and the bully who pushed everyone off the platform, there were mats below them to ensure safe landings. Large scenes were filmed with a massive crane that followed the players. Some actors wore body cams to bring viewers closer to the action. These cameras were strapped to their bodies, but controlled by an operator, making the movement feel very realistic. For the most dramatic fall scenes, a custom version of the game was created, with a height of 2 to 3 stories. A special platform was built to capture spectacular drops, like when players were hanging from the edge and begging for help before falling. All actors were safely secured with ropes, whether they fell or just ran around. Then we see the room where the VIPs relaxed with the frontman. Once again, living statues were used, extras posing as still figures. Their bodies were painted, though it may have been costumes, which would have been more practical. It's important to realize, every snippet of film we see is a carefully planned and executed moment, involving cameras, crew, and lots of preparation. Everything is meticulously thought out. You can see, for example, how the frontman was filmed. Many viewers, and likely the Season 1 team, were excited to work again with the actress who played Se-byuk. She appears briefly in the new installment, and the moment is both natural and elaborately staged. The choreography for the fight between the black officer and No-Yul was also complex. The actors practiced it for a long time, and the result was impressive. In the end, almost the entire scene is shown in which Myung-gi hangs before his death, holding onto someone's jacket. Of course, both were secured by ropes. The drop beneath them was significant. The whole scene was filmed using a crane and a long boom mic. Not an easy task to perform such an emotional moment in that position. To conclude, everyone was given flowers. And the airport scene? That was filmed in a regular building using real locations. Definitely not an actual airport.